Hello and welcome back to the channel. As always, I'd like to first of all thank those of you who have tuned into the channel and have liked and subscribed the videos. Thank you very much. I'll keep making the videos if you keep watching them. Also, a huge shout out to Julie, Carl, Luke, Craig and Tina at Vector Air. They are kind enough, or have been kind enough, to lend me this rifle, the Kalibrgun Snipe 45 in 177. Also, finally, a huge shout out and thank you to the team at Atherton Indoor Range for allowing me to film here. So, this is my video or follow-up from the last video I made on the Snipe, and essentially I'm going to give you my thoughts and also just some results from some cards I did. But to be fair, I've been meaning to make this video for a while, I just haven't had the time, so apologies, huge apologies for those of you who've stayed tuned for this vid. So another disclaimer, the rifle, to be fair, after I made the overview video, I did send it back to Vector Air so that they could have a look at the safety catch and also the stop that is protecting the male Foster adapter. So they did rectify those issues and send it me back, and they've now assured me that all of the snipes that are going out have got the safety catch sorted and have got the cover, which is this, sorted, so it no longer is a nightmare to come off. It literally, there you go, easily goes back on and off the gun. Right, he says, without twisting it. There you go. So, things I like about this rifle. First of all, I would say this is the perfect tool for taking out into the field because it's just so light. It's ridiculously light. Compared to some of the other rifles I've trialed in terms of bullpups in the past, if, for example, from your perspective, you take the scope off, I wish I had the weight with me. That's the only thing. I'm not as precise as some of the other airgun channels, but I will tell you that this is probably one of the lightest rifles I've held, especially considering that if you wanted to pack this down, then you can take the shroud off over here, which in fairness, that's how it comes, by basically removing this front shroud, and it exposes the barrel. And then ultimately you can pack it down into a backpack really easily, especially if you've got scopes with easy quick release mounts. This is the scope that Vector Air lent me, the Continental 3-18 by 50. It's a fantastic scope. I would definitely say it's one for shooting at closer range than something like, well, I mean, it's good to up to 25-30 meters for definite from my perspective. Another thing I really liked about this are, well, it's kind of like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I really like the digital gauges. These, to be fair, for me, are beautiful. They're great, but I'm not going to twist the camera around. As I said, one of my pet gripes is the fact that the gauges, in fairness, should be level with the rest of the gun, especially considering that when you're filling this, you literally unplug it from the bottom and put the female Foster adapter at the bottom like that, and you fill it up like that, and you're expecting to see the readouts really nicely in terms of, first of all, what's in the bottle, which goes up to 300 bar, and then the reg, which in fairness is hovering between 95 and 100 bar. Normally it resides around 96, 97 bar. The other thing I do like about this is the cocking lever, and again, very reminiscent of my Edgun Lullier. I found it smoother than the Edgun Lullier, in fairness, and the thing I like about it is that you can get very quick shots off, especially if, as I found, that potentially when you're cocking the rifle, if you wanted to speed shoot, you can potentially have one finger on the trigger like that and quickly shoot, quickly do follow-up shots. I did a test at the range not too long ago where I loaded a 15 round magazine and quickly shot 15 rounds off as quickly as I could, just to see how the rifle could cope. And I was finding that by using that technique, I could shoot quite quickly. The other thing I really like about the rifle is the adjustable stock, which I said in my last overview is really solid compared to some of the other rifles on the market. I'm not going to mention specific makes, but they're very flimsy compared to this. This is all very rigid, you know, high grade polymer, all very well maintained in regards to providing you features in terms of adjustability, for example, adjusting with the cheek piece here, and you can adjust the length backwards and forwards here. I'm not doing it deliberately now because if I do, it's going to adjust the length on the table that I'm resting on. What I want to do now is use this as an opportunity to tell you, well, look, is this rifle accurate? Well, I tested it with a number of different pellets, and again, forgive me for only showing you the results now, but these are pellets that I shot back in January, and I have shot some since, and I tell you, the pellets that it likes the most, from my perspective, are the Barracuda FTs 9.57 in 4.51s. I think this rifle likes those pellets the most. I mean, to be fair, the Barracudas, the FTs, are overtaking, from my perspective, the JSB Exacts and also the QIS Streamlined. So the FTs are coming in top trumps at the moment, from my perspective. But just to give you a quick indication, that wasn't the first card I wanted to show you, I think it was this card. So these are the QIS Streamlined, and these are the FTs. Now you can see those are the Streamlined 5-shot groups, and then these are the FTs. I actually got better results, I felt, with these than I did with these. And then this is JSB Heavies at 30 yards. Just these groups here. To be fair, that was a nice group with the 30, with the heavies, but the rest of them I wasn't too enamored with. Okay, 5-shot groups at 30 yards. Those are two very nice groups there. But I did feel that out of these groups, I mean, to be fair, that's not a bad one for the QIS. Neither is that. But I felt, for example, that group there, and again this one, it started to tighten up. To be fair, it's getting close, isn't it, between the two? But I stuck with the FTs. And this is what I got with the FTs. Just to show you this very quickly, I did a chrono result. So I did 30 shots, and it's showing the foot power over here, the spread, with a standard deviation of 0.1. So it shoots consistently. So I wouldn't have expected less, to be fair, from a caliber gun. And just very quickly, I just want to show you this. This is the card I did as well at the range. And again, I will say this, some things I don't like about the rifle now. So it's not as precise as it could have been, because I feel that this Picatinny rail over here and the fact that the fill probe, or the fill port over here, doesn't allow for an extension unless Kalibrgun come up with an adapter which allows for a Picatinny rail to be attached over here with a hole and essentially an elongated rail which runs the complete length of the bottle and has an additional Picatinny over here. Now I've seen PRS make those for the day state range of bullpups, and I think I've seen some, again, by Sabre Tactical for the FX range of rifles. This is missing something like that, because when you're trying to balance this off a bag and shoot, first of all, if you put a tripod over here, what I found is it's all right. It's not as stable as, for example, putting the bipod further at the front. And also, if you're trying to rest off a bag like this, off the front, you're resting off the bottle. Now, I personally now do not like resting a gun when I'm shooting off the bottle just like this. This is fine from my perspective to give you this overview, but I don't really like shooting like this. So when I was shooting, I was trying to shoot off a bipod, and then when I couldn't, in fairness, I had to resort to using the Seb. Steve here at the range kindly lent me his Seb Neo, but again, that was more securely clamped. When I say clamped, you're supposed to use them as a rest, but I did use it to try and clamp in this bottle because I want to try and eliminate as much maneuverability as possible, especially because it's just suspended by the bottle. And more importantly, the backrest over here was held up by a bag, which this isn't designed for. This isn't designed for shooting off a bench, okay? And I was using those methods to shoot off a bench to do my testing. But I would say for a field rifle, for going out in the field, this is a superb piece of kit. in terms of its portability, in terms of how light it is, and also just in terms of the shot count. It's a 300 bar fill, and okay, the bottle, it's not like a 480. I think it's a 360 litre, a 0.36 litre bottle, but you're going to get a lot of shots in 177 and 22 in a sub 12 with this. This is the UK sub 12 version. Obviously, if we're talking about this rifle abroad, shooting higher power, you're going to get less shot counts, but still at 300 bar, fantastic. Also, I forgot to mention the MOA on the rail over here. I think it's 20 MOA. Again, something that's obviously welcomed when it comes to shooting. There was one other point I neglected to mention. Whilst this is called the Snipe, and okay, you've got the shroud, my thoughts are the shroud could be more effective. In fact, to be fair, this definitely, if you really wanted to quieten this down, you really should put a silencer on the end of it. But then it adds to the length. Because in fairness, whilst it isn't the loudest of rifles, it's neither the most quietest of rifles. I think my Vulcan 2 Tactic is very quiet compared to this. Doesn't negate the fact that you can put a silencer on here, or a moderator, sorry, but I would definitely say that bear in mind that this shroud, it does so much of a job, but it isn't perfect, okay? As far as I'm concerned, I think those are the main points I wanted to highlight in this overview. Is it accurate? I would say for what you want it for at 25, 30 yards, yes, I would say that. These are fingernail groups I'm talking about. So, yeah. And bear in mind, this, excuse me, the barrel hasn't been leaded in yet. So the more pellets it has going through it, the better it will be for the rifle. I also think that from the fact that, excuse me, it's Kalibrgun pedigree, it's going to have essentially a great backing, and also some of the peripherals that will come out for it, fingers crossed, are going to support it. One thing I thought would be cool is, again, I recently purchased off Airgun 101, so hello Giles and Sam at Airgun 101, a large sniper grip which had a shelf on it, and I thought putting that on here would be really, really nice, just to add a little bit more, for me, just a little bit more grip onto the rifle. Not to say that this AR style grip isn't good, it's just my own preference. I've gotten used to palm shelves now from having shot some of the rifles I've got, for example, the Daystate Red Wolf Silver, and also my XTI, which have both got shelves. So I've got used to those now, so I'm a bit spoiled. So given the option, yes, I can swap those out. So you've got options. So this comes to the conclusion of this rifle. I would definitely recommend it to people who are wanting to go out in the field. I would consider it, try it out if you're thinking of shooting, for example, at a range, but I would definitely consider it for taking out and using it as a tool out for pest control. All right, well, if you've liked this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much for being patient for this follow-up video. If you've liked what you've seen, definitely stay tuned to the channel. I've got some interesting guns coming in, actually. I'm really looking forward to them because they're ones I've not tried yet on the channel, and they're going to be interesting to see what your thoughts are. So please stay tuned to them. I'm being cryptic, I'm not going to go into detail yet. As soon as I've got them, you'll find out. But for now, thank you very much. Take care, look after yourselves, stay safe, and cheers once again for tuning in. See you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.